Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jefe Sports Podcast. I'm your host, El Jefe, Jeff Hopkins. And oh my God, what a week of sports we just saw. Starting off with the Brooklyn Nets acquiring James Harden from the Houston Rockets. I mean, he got what he wanted. And after these first couple games, they look unbeatable. You look at him, Kevin Durant. He's doing what he always does. One of the best players in the league, arguably best player in the league right now. You look at James Harden, dishing the rock, hitting that step back three, unbeatable. I mean, I'm starting to worry as a Lakers fan. Can we do it? But other than that, huge weekend in the NFL. The conference championships are now set. We got the Bills traveling to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. And then we got the Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady, going to Lambeau Field to challenge A-Rod and the Packers. Woo! It's going to be a great weekend of sports, man. I cannot wait for that. But we got to mention this because news broke today that the Tennessee Volunteers are basically going to the crapper. Allegedly, they were handing out bags full of money, McDonald's bags full of money, to their recruits. And you really can't come back from that, I'm going to be honest. If there's evidence of that out there, it's still allegedly right now. There's not much evidence, but if they find concrete evidence about this, you can basically kiss the Volunteers Tennessee football program goodbye for at least 3 years. And I know what you guys are thinking, man. Y'all thinking, Jefe, I mean, all they're doing is cheating. Everybody does it. Everybody is not giving out McDonald's bags full of cash. I mean, come on. Like, you really can't come back from that, Tennessee. You know, y'all were already going through some tough times. You just fired your coach. Now this, not looking well for you guys. Tennessee, any of my Tennessee Volunteer fans out there, man, stay strong. It happened to Ole Miss. It's about to happen to you, but I'll see y'all in 3 years. But, man, so today's going to be a very special episode. I got joining me today the two-time All-Star from the Washington Nationals, Mr. Jefe himself, Josh Harrison. We get into a lot of great stuff, talking about the Players Alliance, all the great things that they're doing with that in the MLB. We talk about his 2 All-Star appearances, what that was like, and how special it was for him to bring with his family with him. And finally, we talk about how he stays wavy in times that are uncertain. And be sure you guys check that out. He's got a very, very special message for you guys. So without further ado, Tennessee Volunteer fans, wipe away the tears. Browns fans, wipe away the tears. Let's get going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jefe Sports Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest today. My guy, Jefe, Josh Harrison. My guy, Josh, what's good?
What's going on, Jeff, man? You know, hey, same old, same old. Another day, got life, I'm blessed. Got my wife, my kids, I'm good to go.
We were both at an event last month, and it was ran by the Players Alliance. Josh, and you remember that. It's over 100
Right.
current and former Black professional MLB players, man. Can you speak a little bit about what you guys do with that organization?
Man, it kind of just came about with everything going on this past year, the past summer. We found ourselves in times we hadn't been before. We looking around, it's May, June, and we not playing. We used to playing. But what it did was allow a lot of guys to have dialogue. And it actually started with a few guys. One guy, actually, Edwin Jackson, he's played with like 14 teams. And we was all just kind of in the group chat, just checking in, on each other's mental, like, hey, how everybody doing? Y'all good? Stay ready for the season. How's the family? And, with everything going on, ideas rolled off and guys kind of put together, forming the Players Alliance. And when it came to putting plans in motion. Guys reached out, said, "Yeah, man, I would love to be a part of it." And it was just guys putting their heads together, saying, "How can we, make an impact in our communities?" Because what we found out was a lot of us have our own foundations or charities that we do things back home, but to do it collective, it was cool for us to say, this is from us as a collective group. We still do our things on our own, but just making it more unified. And as things get rolling, it's going to branch out to doing more things in our communities, but at the same time allowing us to stay connected with each other, and making sure that we reach those that need it.
That's one thing that you guys have really been great at. You guys made this idea, but you're actually putting it into work. There was an event last month with the Players Alliance in Cincinnati where we were there volunteering, giving back to the community, giving 300 meals, over 300 meals to whoever came by in a little pull-up neighborhood event. So I applaud you guys for that.
Oh, no, I appreciate it, man. It's not anything that we're doing for any recognition to say, oh, they're doing this. But with those things, sometimes recognition comes, and at the same time, spreading word of mouth for people to know about the event. It's not, oh, look what they're doing. They're doing this. It's more so, hey, if you know somebody, anybody that needs help, send them our way. This is what we're here for. And that's the beauty of it.
Even just a presence, you guys are role models. Younger kids are going to look up to you and say, man, if Josh can do it, maybe I can do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Representation definitely matters. I was fortunate. I was blessed, man. My uncle John Shelby played 11 years in the major leagues, coached professionally. This past year was his first year in like 40 years not having a job, not coaching. My oldest brother currently is a minor league manager. But growing up, I had that representation of an uncle that played, two older brothers that were great athletes. It's a lot of kids that don't have that. But at the same time, you mentioned the Players Alliance. As I mentioned, we don't do it for any recognition or notoriety, but you mentioned current and former players. You mentioned myself. You got, Andrew McCutchen, Jason Hayward, but then you look up and you got Curtis Granderson, CC Sabathia. So it's not something that it's like, oh, you got to be a current player. It's guys that paved the way for us that are chip in and say, you know what, this is something that we need to be a part of collectively, because we want to progress the game forward, but not only the game. There's more to life than baseball, and I think that's what it allows us to take a step back and let people know, like, man, we're people. We're athletes, but we're more than that. We're people, and people need help. We're willing to pitch in.
That's deep. That's deep. And that's perfect, man. That's Camp. I'm so glad that I was able to help out any way I could, man. Y'all are doing some great things.
Oh yeah, man, it was cold out there too. Toes was frozen, fingers was frozen, but at the end of the day, there were people that went home with things that they needed that we take for granted.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cold, man. I had my OSU beanie on. I know you love the Buckeyes. I had my OSU beanie on, just chilling in the cold, man.
Hey, I don't hate anybody. I'm a lover, so I say I love everybody, but I can't say I love the Buckeyes. They cool. I'm a Bearcat at heart. That's where I'm from. That's where I went. But yeah, I had two hoodies on, a coat, still cold, man. But that was the beauty of it. You a Buckeye, I'm a Bearcat. We came together for the greater good.
Yep. So, Josh, I want to take a little right step right here. Talk to me about the All-Star game, man. Your first All-Star game in 2014. It was in Minneapolis. Tell me what that experience was like.
Man, it was crazy. Like there's sometimes I go back and look at the pictures in my phone and just realize everything that happened that weekend. I remember when I found out, it was before they released it on the internet or through the selection show. And I remember they're like, yeah, we got two All-Stars this year. We have a team meeting. Andrew McCutchen and actually we had three. Tony Watson, Andrew McCutchen, and Josh Harrison. When he said it, because I didn't start the season playing. It took me till May to get, like, actually my first start came Easter Sunday. That was my first start that season. So when you talk at bats, games played at that time, that the All-Star break, I had enough at bats and stuff, but I still missed pretty much a month because I had a month where I didn't start. But Athene pretty much selected me, handpicked me, like, you know what, this guy, he's bounced around. We've seen this guy play. And I just remember calling my parents, my brothers. Obviously I told my wife, she was in Pitt, but I remember like, hey, y'all can't say anything. It just got released. but I'm on the All-Star team, and they're like, what? Like, like, hey, you can't say nothing until the night after the selection show. But yeah, next week, the All-Star game is in Minneapolis, and everything happening from we played our last Sunday game. We were in Cincinnati playing the Reds. And we had to get on a plane to fly to Minneapolis. It's me, my wife, my oldest daughter, Mia at the time, Andrew McCutchen and his wife, Tony Watson and his wife, and Clint Hurdle. And we fly, we get there that night. Meanwhile, we're trying to get flights for my parents, my in-laws, my grandma, like the whole nine. My middle brother, my oldest brother couldn't make it because he was all the way in Visalia, California, coaching. And just that whole week, the whole 3 days happened so fast. There's a picture that me and my wife always look at. It's the same night of the All-Star game. We're in a hotel. We both sitting on the bed. I got my suit on. She's got her dress, and I'm holding my daughter. And we are looking in the camera. We just look like, yeah, we tired, But it was an experience, something I'll never forget. Just because, I remember earlier that year talking to my oldest brother, like, man, they not playing me. Like, I've been here for 3 years. Like, I'm just waiting on an opportunity. And my brother was like, man, I got a feeling we're gonna be laughing at this at the end of the year. And I called him on it when I found out. I said, man, we didn't even have to wait till the end of the year to laugh. Like, we can laugh now. So it was cool, because coming into the season where, I was just looking for an opportunity to play. I had to wait my time and then be recognized. It was cool, man. And it was a whirlwind. It was 3 straight days of pretty much no sleep. But it was cool to experience, going on the red carpet, letting my family, getting to meet other players and their families. Just showing how much of a family baseball is. Like, oh man, I've seen that guy. Like, oh man, he's cool. Like, it's also an experience for the family.
Yeah, I can't imagine, man. That's goals for real. Just looking, like you
fun,
say, you guys
man.
retired in that picture, but man, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, one day I want to be in that spot. Not a professional baseball player, because those days are behind me, but I want to be where I'm with my wife, I'm with my children, just looking in the mirror, like, man, I made it. We made it. And
that's part of it, man. What good does it do you to have fun and experience those things if your family can't experience it with you?
Right. So let's take a step back. You talk about Kutch, and I understand you guys are pretty close, former teammates and everything. But if your teammates had to decide who had the most drip on that team back in 2014,
You know what? I mean, I ain't gonna say it was gonna be close, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna slide it to him. His pockets was a little longer then. I was still getting, but that don't mean that without it. I mean, I still had some drip, but I had to pull on his coattail a little bit. Hey, what are we allowed to wear? What we not allowed to wear? But I'm a go. He had the dreads going. I ain't had none of this. I ain't really had a beard. I was a baby. I was 23, 24. I was young, get my feet wet, but I was definitely top 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The dreads might have put him over top, but I was gonna ask you a dancing question, but I already know you already take the cake with that one. I seen you hit one of the coldest Millie rocks I've ever seen. That was crazy.
You talking about this summer in Washington?
Yeah, yep. That shit was so crispy, man. Oh my God.
Hey, that was a lot of excitement. I mean, that was a exciting moment for me. We didn't even have fans in the stands, but I was in spring training this past year with Philly, coming off of surgery, trying to make a team. COVID happens, numbers got to be shut down. I end up asking for my release. Washington ends up being a blessing in disguise, a great place. And that was, let me think, was that my first hit? That might have been my first hit of the season. I could be wrong. That might have been my first hit of the season. Granted, it was only like my 3rd game, but that Washington, you hit a home run, you come in, they do the line, dance party, whatever you want to do, and I just came in. I was like, oh, this Millie, like it just happened so natural, and the rest was history. I was a little pumped. You couldn't have told me that fans wasn't in the stands that day.
Man, that was cold, bro. I'm telling you, like once I see
Appreciate
it, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like 513, that's us, baby.
Hey, you know we gotta represent, man. We don't
Yes, sir.
we don't take nothing light.
Yes, sir, man. You already know what it is, man. But let's move on to the 2017 All-Star game in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Minneapolis is cool, like it's whatever, like that's your first one, but there is no city like Miami. What was that experience like?
So
Miami.
that experience was a little different. I knew I made the team that year early on before, having to find out the day before, like it was pretty much known, like, yes, I'll be the representative. And the crazy thing is, we were in Chicago finishing up. My wife is pregnant with our second daughter. My mom can't make it to this one because my oldest brother, Vince, the All-Star game is like 3 days after my birthday in July. And my oldest brother and his wife were expecting to have my nephew at any moment. He was actually born like the day of the All-Star game. So my mom stayed, back to see the delivery and birth of my nephew. My dad went to Miami. He flew with me, my wife, um, my oldest Mia, and her cousin, because her parents couldn't make it either. And we get down to Miami, and my wife's pregnant. Mia is, let me think, at the time, 2017, she's 3. So we bring her cousin basically as like, some help for us in the hotel because I'm gonna be all over the place with what I got to do. Um, and it was cool being down there. My middle brother was able to make it with some friends, and they went off and did what they did. But this one was a little different coming into it because it was 3 years later. It was my first healthy season since 2014 because 15 and 16 had injuries, broken hand, torn labrum or torn UCL on my thumb, missed some time. 17 was my first year being healthy from 14. And I was just excited, man. Miami, I remember home run derby, Stanton, Judge,
Going
they hitting
crazy.
balls at the home run derby. I remember having my oldest Mia, she was down on the field with me during, home run derby and stuff, like hanging out with the other kids. And it was a cool experience. She probably don't remember much, but she does. She had her jersey on, eating a little lollipop while they doing home run derby. She's like, "Oh, Daddy, I want to come on the field all the time." And I'm like, "Yeah, it don't really work like this." But it was cool, man, to experience a second All-Star game in a different city, see how things was ran. And it was cool, man. Didn't get to have that much family with me that time due to my, nephew being born, but mom stayed back, my dad came, so it was still a good time, man. But to be honest, 2014 kind of takes the cake because it was Jeter's last year, and he was in the All-Star game. First hit a double. And I remember Yachty hit a home run before me, like had hit an oppo home run to tie the game. I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is nuts. And I step up to the plate. I struck out the next at bat, but I was like, dang, I was trying to hit a home run too, Yachty. Hey, all bets is off. I'm going for it. But man, it was just cool, man, being around, other guys, man, and getting to let your hair down and not really worry about, oh man, you my opponent during the season. Like, man, it's just a cool time, guys having fun, families enjoying it because it goes fast, man.
That's something like I feel like doesn't get recognized a lot. It's a camaraderie between you guys. Like just when you're not playing, it's like your brothers. It's just like we out here just doing our thing and just chilling.
Doing it, yep.
Yeah. So, Josh, let's talk about this year a little bit. So, you're going into your 11th year as a pro, and you're a 2-time All-Star and a Heart and Hustle Award winner. Did you ever think that you were going to make it this far when you were just a little kid in your kitchen playing with your brothers with a little fork and a little balled up piece of paper?
Yeah. And that ain't me giving a cliche of, oh, I've always dreamed this, but I mean, literally my first job was baseball. Never had a job growing up through high school. I grew up playing football, basketball, and baseball, but probably never had a job because I was the youngest of 3. I was spoiled. I was probably the only one of my brothers that never had a job in high school. But realistically, man, as I got older, I was just like, this is what I want to do. And it wasn't until I got older that it really came to fruition. But it wasn't anything you was going to tell me that was going to deter me from saying, oh, you're not going to be a baseball player. Because, I mean, that was the first sport I played. I played football, basketball, and baseball. But baseball was the first one I played. And it was just the fork and the paper ball. That was me coming out the womb. Like, hey, this is what I'm playing. I don't care what y'all saying, but this is what I'm going to play.
Yep.
And
you fell in love.
I mean, I just stuck with it.
Let's talk about this year that you got coming up. 162 games, and it's going to be a crazy season. COVID's going rampant in the NBA right now. We'll see what it does to the MLB. We kind of saw with this past year what it did. But I mean, we just gotta pray. And Josh, I'm gonna pray for you, man. Like I hope this season's gonna
No, I
be
appreciate it.
and just we can get through all 162 games and you guys end up in a great spot.
Yeah, the plan, like you said, I plan on playing 162. We've already been informed, hey, be ready for regular spring training. 162 games, which is what we've always been prepared for. And I think we'll be fine, man. We played, a 60-game season last year, finished on time. Probably had the worst outbreak of all sports when you talk about the Marlins, or the
Yeah.
Brewers, the Cardinals. There were so many teams that had delays, but we still finished on time. It was cause for a lot of double headers here and there, but at the same time, we got through it. We got through the playoffs. Learned a lot about how to, go about preparing for this upcoming season. Granted, nothing's ever going to work exactly how it's planned, but I think we got a better idea and understanding of how to make this thing work.
Yeah.
And just with everything, it's going to have to be adjustments made. But guys are ready to play, man. We 60 games. It was enough. It's better than nothing. So for us, we're looking at it normal off season. Granted, we know there's still going to be some different protocols and stuff in place, but bottom line is we're still prepared to play a normal 162, have a normal spring training. Whether that's with fans or without, we don't really know much about any of that, but I'm sure some of those things are coming to play the more that vaccines are rolled out for people and things. But for us, we knew finishing the season last year was a big deal because we finished. NBA finished, NFL's finishing, NBA started back up. Just with anything, you can have outbreaks here and there, or no matter what. But main thing is, we're gonna have to make adjustments and keep a watchful eye on it.
Right. Right. So let's talk about some of your goals this year. It's gonna be a big year. Y'all are looking really, really good, man. Just added Kyle Schwarber. What are some goals for you? And obviously, what are some goals for the team?
First and foremost, the goal for the team. I mean, I don't care who you are. You want to win a World Series. And we have the pieces in place, man. Last year, had some injuries. Miss Strasburg, Castro broke his thumb, or wrist. We had some injuries, had some banged up guys. Got a full off season to come back, be fully healthy. And first and foremost, that's the goal as the team for sure to win. I don't think anybody ever wants to sit here and say, I just want to play 162 games. Like, I don't want to
I
just
just want
play
to get my
160.
money and be
Yeah,
done.
you know what I mean? Like, but I've never been one that set personal goals, just like, oh, I want to hit this or I want to do this. I've always been a firm believer that my body of work is going to speak for itself. I, I take care of my body. I trust myself. I work out. I know given healthy that I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do
Jay
and I'm gonna
Hay
do it
gonna be
well.
there. Jay
You,
Hay gonna
you know
do
what I
what he
mean?
do.
And and I've had to learn that over the course of my career. I'm hard headed. My wife would tell you I've played through things I probably shouldn't have. Um, you know, hence Detroit, but it didn't start in Detroit. It started my last year in Pitt. That just happened to carry over and wear and tear, plan on things, compensating. It ended up making me have to sit down for 8 months to recover and pretty much retrain my body and get rid of those compensations that I did. But man, I've always said to people, even all-star games, people, oh man, did you ever imagine this? Did you do this? Do you prove, like, how's it feel to prove people wrong? And I said, man, I'm gonna stop you there. I've never been the type that really cares what other people say, to say, oh, I'm doing this to prove them wrong. Because to be honest, what I do don't make or break them. And
Mhm.
what they do don't make or break me. Like, what matters is the belief that I have in myself. And I've always been a confident guy. So I've always said, given if I'm healthy, I'm gonna do what I do, and the body of work will speak for itself. Um, and that's always how I've been, prove myself right. But that also comes from having two older brothers. Like, I mean, I ain't got to prove nobody wrong. I had two older brothers that ain't take a light on me. So what somebody else expected me, I don't really care what other people's expectations are of me. Because I mean, what does your expectation do for me? It doesn't motivate me anymore. Like, if I ain't
Right.
got the motivation in myself to want to go do it, you know, I think a lot of people can get lost in trying to prove or satisfy others when it's like, you know what? I mean, you got to do what you do for you. And don't get me wrong, it does feel good sometimes to have the satisfaction. Like, yeah, I remember you doubted me. You know what? Who got the last laugh now? But at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm not setting out to say, man, he wrote a bad article about me. I got to go show him. Like, You write bad articles about a lot of people. What you say don't mean it's right, don't mean it's wrong. But at the same time, it's a lot of things behind the scenes that, people don't understand. We play through injuries. People are playing, dealing with outside factors with family that, it's so much that goes on that I don't really care what people say or think of me, in the sense of like, oh, he's not this, he's not that. Because whether you're an athlete or anything, first thing that comes with self-belief, anything that you want to do, don't let others deter you from the way you think or how you want to go about it. And if
Right.
they negative, keep it moving. I'm not going to dwell on negative energy because, I mean,
That'll bring you down with them.
Exactly. And
Yep.
that's what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And shoot, I'm kind of experiencing something like that right now where I got this thing. I've been doing it for 6 months now. Like I'm starting to get my notoriety up. I'm starting to build up my brand on social media. And you hear that little stuff in the
Oh yeah.
background. But like at the end of the day, like exactly what you said, man. Like the only person I'm trying to please in my life is me. And the only thing that I'm trying to do is make it so I can give it back to my family and generations beyond me.
Bring you joy. Ain't nothing like a happy family, man. Like same thing you talk about. My wife, she owns her own business and entrepreneur. That was a lot of the growing pains she had for her because when you build your own website, you upload the product, you take the pictures, you do everything. People gonna say what they want. Sometimes you take things to heart, especially, but it's what that person. A lot of people say things just because you're doing something that they wish they could.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to put in the work. And if they see you putting in the work, they're gonna do anything to pull you back down or get to where they back are. Like, yeah, told you couldn't do it. No, you just didn't want me to do it.
Right, right. And you couldn't do it. You couldn't do
Right,
it.
right,
That's the
right.
crazy thing. Man, one of my friends just texted me and said, James Harden, I think he might have got traded.
I saw him in the reports or whatever they were talking about. I know I saw his article or his report saying that it was pretty much past repair.
Bro,
Where'd he go? Where'd he
the
get traded
Nets.
to?
The Nets got him.
Where he was originally trying to go.
Yeah, but that is
So him, Kyrie, KD.
but
How is that
they
gonna
can't
work?
keep everybody though. That's the
No,
thing.
that you're not trading Kyrie. You're not trading Durant.
Uh-uh. It's like the only thing that ESPN has right now is the Brooklyn Nets are acquiring James Harden in a blockbuster deal. And Woj tweeted it.
Because you're not trading Kyrie. You got John Wall. Durant just signed. Like you're not trading neither one of those two. So how is that? You can say the dynamic can work, but it's not the Warriors with Steph, Clay, and KD. That was an unselfish group.
Right, right, exactly.
I mean, I ain't saying hard and selfish, but he's a dude that like the ball in his hands.
And that's how
Kyrie,
he
a dude that
performs
like the
best
ball in
with
his
the
hands.
ball in his hands. And I swear, bro, you cannot play with all those egos in one ball. Like, and
But you know
Steve
what?
Kerr he's a first year coach. How are you going to
But you
manage
know
all that?
what? They got a chance to prove themselves right and not other people wrong.
Hey, bro, what are we talking about? That is exactly what we're saying. God, yeah. All right. James Harden, Kyrie, and KD, man, go
Hey,
do your thing.
wish them the best. Wish them the
Go do
best.
your
But
thing for real.
but
Go
we
ahead.
also know sports doesn't necessarily mean the best team on paper win.
That's
But
true.
you have instances where it does. I mean, it's a team sport. They're gonna have to sacrifice, and it'll show.
So, Josh, I got a segment on my show called Stay Wavy, where we talk about a specific moment in your life where your back was against the wall, everything seemed like it was going against you, and there was somehow, some way, you made it through and you stayed wavy. So, do you have a specific example of that in your life?
Told you it was gonna come back, didn't I?
Yep, you did.
So
You
I'm
did.
gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with my favorite Bible verse. I found it in college. First Peter 5:6 says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that He may lift you up in due time." I found this in college, but I even apply it to daily life, where being a parent, being a husband, being a brother, like there's things we can't control. Everything is gonna be on God's timing. And that time that you talk about that is my senior year of high school, where I said I graduated the day that I signed my national letter of intent. Had no idea where I was going. For those that don't really know about baseball, baseball doesn't give full scholarships. So for a team of 30 to 35 players, the best school only has 11.7 scholarships to divide amongst 30, 35 people. And I remember it was just God's timing, man. I told you I was thinking of going to a JUCO. Here we are 2-3 weeks before I graduate. I don't know where I'm going. We're going through the state tournament. I'm playing well. UC calls, hey, we want to set up a visit. Set up a visit. I'm in Cincinnati. I'm from there. I ain't got to make no outrage. We visit. My brother, who I told you, was back with his surgery, had been through the whole visiting process with football, basketball, and baseball. My brother's La Rosa's athlete. He's in the Hall of Fame for La Rosa. Like, my brother was a big deal.
Wow.
So him and my dad going on this, college tour, obviously they know they've been to recruiting visits, this or that. And, at the time they're like, yeah, man, 30%. And I didn't come from a rich family. 30%, you mean 70%? We still got to come up with 70% of tuition and everything for me to be eligible to play. Had to apply for outside scholarships. So we get 2 weeks down the road, we're playing Moeller High School, who is the defending state champions. We're playing them at UC. We knocked them off 6-4, but I had like 2 hits, stolen base. I made this game-saving catch at shortstop with the infield in where I went over my shoulder, and I remember catching it, saved a run, and everybody's like, man, how did you make that play? Literally after the game, Indiana calls. Like schools start calling like, hey, man, nice play. Like, hey, we're interested. A week later, the draft happens for the Major League Baseball is coming up. UC's got some seniors, some juniors, whatever the case may be. I just remember they're like, man, we really want you to come. And like, 30%, like, I ain't saying I want 100, but I would love 100, but I get it. Baseball don't get full rides. When it came down to it, here I am a week from graduating. UC goes, we have a 70% offer. More than double. So I got 70%. Outside of that, scholarships, from maybe my church, some outside scholarships, which actually help with what school got paid for. But when you talk about staying wavy, I told you, you asked me about my high school and did I think, I got to go to college? I literally one day at a time, just because I was undersized, but everything happened so quick. And it was like the same day that I woke up at 6 a.m. to go to my school for senior breakfast for the day we graduating. That day, I woke up at 6 a.m., signed my national letter of intent, went to school for the school breakfast for the seniors. They canceled school and we went up to Dayton because we was playing in the state Final Four. So all of that happened in the same day. And it was a week before that, all my classmates, hey, where you going to school? And I'm like, Wabash JUCO in Illinois. Like, huh? You got a 3.8? Yeah, but they gonna let me play baseball. And sure enough, the rest was history after that. Went from 30% to 70%, and then the rest was history. But that was definitely a time that I had to stay wavy, whether I knew it or not. My favorite Bible verse hadn't hit it yet, but it stuck true to me. Always remain humble. Everything was on God's timing, and same thing happened my junior year of college. Got drafted. Everything was on his timing. He's sitting here. I can do this. It's on him. So that was a time when I had to stay wavy.
Man, that's special. That is a special story, man. That's gonna be told forever, man. From Princeton, I'm from Princeton. I'm in Princeton right now, repping Princeton. Yeah. Man, that's gonna be a story told forever, man. That's a great story. That's a great story. That kind of leads me into this last part of the interview where, you've been through a lot in your life, Josh, and you've had so much success. I want you to give your flowers. Who is somebody or some people in your life that you wouldn't be in the spot today if it wasn't for them?
First and foremost, God. It's number one. After that, man, my parents. My parents are still married to this day. My dad literally coached me and my brothers, both of my brothers, in football, basketball, and baseball growing up until we got to like middle school, high school. And my mom, we know mom, she had to deal with 3 boys. But it wasn't just 3 boys, because any given weekend we all got a friend spending the night because my dad was the coach. Somebody needed a ride. So that, and then, man, my brothers, man, I was that annoying little brother, but they ain't take it easy on me. I got beat up, pushed in the walls. Like I was getting my shot blocked. I wasn't scoring. Like they didn't take it easy on me. Which once I got amongst my peers, made it easier for me to say, you know what, I've already had it way worse than this. Like ain't nothing worse than trying to score a bucket on your brothers on a little Tykes rim that every shot you put up is get at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like ain't no, oh, let him score, he's little. Oh, if I went to play with them and they put me on the team, hey, if I pass you the ball, you better hit that shot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you mean? I'm 10, they 16. Hey, if I pass you the ball, you better hit that shot. Or like, you know what I mean? So none of this is possible without God, my parents making the sacrifices they made, me being the youngest brother, being able to pick up off of them. And then even my wife, she's had to make sacrifices. I told you she owns her own business. I don't want to say a lot of that had to get put on the back burner, but we had to make adjustments because, you know, you talk about a schedule where she's having to deal with, if I'm gone, she's got our daughter. She's got, you know, not only that, oh, she's got to get them to school. She's got her business. She's got other stuff that she wants to do. So got to give her flowers too, because baseball is a hectic schedule. It's a lot to put up with.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. And she's a lady boss, man. That's
Oh,
huge. That's
man.
huge.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm good. When I'm done, hey, she called the off-season Britney season. This interview is actually cutting into Britney season, but we'll tell her I'm on break right now.
Well, Josh, I'm gonna let you get back to Britney season, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for being on the Jefe Sports Podcast.
Appreciate you having me on, man.